What's up, guys? Today we're pulling a dash out of my 1987 Toyota Supra. It's been in there for almost 4 decades. I've been redoing the interior, and this is the last major step before paint. So it's time to tear it down and get this dash out to restore it. This really wasn't too bad, but it's not exactly easy. If you're doing this yourself, I highly suggest taking your time and being very slow and very careful, because all this plastic is very, very brittle. I'll try to walk you through step by step as best as I can, while also trying to keep this entertaining. Alright, so first we're going to start with the center console. There's one bolt right in the center of the center console, and then there are 2 Phillips on either side in the back seat portion on the sides of the center console. You're also going to want to pop out all your trays. For your ashtray, those want to come out along with the black rubber trim around your heater controls and your radio. So your shift knob's going to need to come out, or if you have an automatic, all your trim is going to have to come out as well. Now this is something you want to be extremely careful with, because this piece here is extremely fragile. There are 2 plugs on the back of this, one for the hazards and one for the cigarette lighter. Both of these need to be unplugged. Be careful with the connectors because they are fragile. Alright, so next up here we've got 2 bolts here. Both of these need to come out, and those should be the last ones holding this all in. Alright, now we can lift this up out of place. Now be careful, there are wires hooked up to this, depending on if you have TEMS, bolsters on the seats that are adjustable, or power mirrors. Make sure you unplug all these before you fully lift this up. You don't want to damage any of the wires or anything. Also, remember, just be careful. It's old connectors and everything. Don't break them. Alright, so we've got 4 screws here. I guess we got 3 on the actual heater controls, and this one's for the gauge cluster. So I'm just going to take the heater controls out first, and then I'm also going to take the radio out. You should have 4 bolts here, but for some reason mine's just sitting in there. It's not something I did, but yeah, we'll go ahead, we'll take this out, unplug everything on this. We'll take this out, which is these 3 bolts, and then that'll come out. We'll unplug that, and then we have this section over here which just pulls out as well. You gotta be extremely gentle with it though, because this is old plastic, and it will chip. These also have plugs, so just unplug all those and leave the wires there. Alright, so one more thing. These plugs are a little bit different. You know, you have these normal ones, which are, you know, you just push on this tab here and then you pull. These are similar style, but they're also different. So you've got this little pin here. You want to pull that towards the connector part, and then pull up on these, because these are definitely, I've never seen a clip like this before. They're just a little bit different from anything that I've seen. Here's the example of it out. You know, they're different, but you just push on this, it'll move that clip back, and then you can just pull it out. Alright, so we got the radio out. Now we just have to take all these steering wheel column bolts out. Just Phillips once again. After that, we gotta take the kick panel out, and then make sure to take out the A-pillar trim as well. You're gonna have the little handles on those trim panels. They'll have little caps at the ends. The bolts for those are behind those caps, also Phillips. Next thing that's gonna need to come off is gonna be the steering wheel. I have an aftermarket Momo steering wheel that's just 5 Allen keys. What you have, you might have the OEM one, or you may have an aftermarket one already. So your steps to remove the steering wheel may be a little bit different than what mine are. After that, we're going to take out the gauge cluster. There are screws across the top that need to come out first before the gauge cluster can actually come out. Once you get that top trim off, then you have these 3 white screw ports across the top of the cluster. So go ahead and take those out, and then this whole cluster should just pull right out. There are going to be 5 connectors on the back. Make sure you pop these out. I did break one of them, so be extremely careful when you do unplug these. Alright, so next is going to be the glove box. There are 2 Phillips screws in the bottom holding the kick panel in. You're going to want to take those out. And then there's going to be another 2 Phillips at the very bottom of the glove box on the hinges. Those 2 need to come out as well. And then you'll just need to tilt the glove box and pull it out of that cutout for it, and it should just come right out. And then there is also this black cover back behind here, being held in by 2 Phillips. It's on the striker for the glove box, the part where the latch latches to. Just take those 2 out and they should come right out as well. You'll also need to disconnect a couple bolts from the ECU because those are also connected to the dash but also to the support bar. So you're going to need to take a couple bolts on the ECU down and just drop it so it's hanging down. And there are a couple wiring harnesses back behind the dash that are still going to be attached to it. You need to disconnect those as well. I'll show some clips up of those right here for you. When you do end up taking this dash out, there are 2 hidden bolts. I'll throw both of those positions up here on the screen. One's right behind the speedometer, and the other is kind of in the all the way to the left side of the dash. Both of those are up on the screen right now for you. So with all that done, now it should be pretty much just age holding this dash in at this point. There are a couple of things you will run into that are still going to be holding it in. I definitely suggest having your car, if it is a stick shift, put it into 4th gear or 2nd gear, one of the 2 lower gears. And then have your e-brake all the way down just to give you some more room. I did not, and I struggled with that for a little bit. There is a daylight sensor on the passenger side that needs to be unplugged. It's under the dash. Once you pull it out a little bit, it'll be easier to access. You can't really see it with all your heater box there. And then there is a heater duct up under the passenger side vent. It's held in by 3 Phillips screws. You need to take that out first so you can untuck the harness from the back side of the dash panel. And then there's 1 more Phillips screw holding the wiring harness to the dash down by where the radio is on the inner side. So once you get all that out, you might have a couple things here and there still holding it in. But at this point, it's just age. You're going to want to tilt the dash up and towards you and then lift out at the same time. You're going to struggle with the turn signal stalk and the wiper blade stalk, so just be careful of those. Those are fragile as well, so just don't break them. So this is the finished product of all that work. Dash is out. You can see all the cracks. That's why it's getting redone. The aftermath. I'm a little terrified to put it back together, to be honest, but we'll figure it out. People do it all the time, right? Why can't I? That's it. This is the parts pile. Whole lot of work, all for that. Oh boy, that was very difficult. So at the end I was fighting with a couple issues. First one being that this heater duct that goes on top of the dash, this needs to come out to be able to get this wiring harness free. There is like a daylight sensor that goes up to the dash. This needs to get unplugged as well. And then there were a couple more bolts on the back of on the back of the dash that was holding the harness in place. And then this bracket was being held up like so, or something like that, I think. And that bracket had to get completely unbolted from the dash to free up this harness. So it's definitely doable. It's not the easiest, and it's going to take some time, so just know that going into it. But all that effort will definitely pay off once I'm putting it back in and it's, you know, brand new and it looks like all these other panels. If you guys have any questions or anything, please put them down in the comments and I'll do my best to try to help you guys out. Don't mind me, I just kind of filmed this video just to help myself put it back in the future, but I'm always willing to help you guys out with anything you guys need. So thank you guys for watching, and in the next video I'm going to be trying to redo this dash. So yeah, we'll see what happens.